Hey everyone, this is Tommy Zarko, one of the sports information directors here at Clarkson University, and I'm joined by the Golden Knights head swimming and diving coach, Zack Wahl. This interview will serve as a quick catch up for parents, alumni, and prospective student athletes as a kind of state of the program. So, Coach, you are in your third year here at Clarkson, and obviously the current situation across the country has provided some challenges as far as restrictions for larger practices. Has that created some long days for you in regards to individual or small group sessions? And how have you navigated that in your first few weeks of practice?
Yeah, it's definitely created some new challenges that we've never had to deal with before. First of all, we weren't allowed to start up until about 2 weeks later than I would have liked to in a normal year. But I'm just happy that we are one of the groups in our conference that are able to be practicing right now. I know I've talked to a bunch of the other coaches in the Liberty League, and there are only 6 teams in our conference that are even in water right now. So I'm just thankful for that. But it's definitely been a challenge. Swimming actually is one of the more safe sports that you can do despite everything that's going on with the pandemic. But studies have shown that chlorine in the water will kill the virus. And we've got these nice 8-foot wide lanes in there that are great markers for social distancing. So once we started up, we basically couldn't start until the first week of October. And then we started with groups of less than 10, so one per lane in our 8 lanes for an hour a day. We've got 41, 42 kids on the team, so that created, 5 groups, plus we had the divers going at the same time, 5 1-hour practices every day for the first week, and then we were able to ramp up a little bit from there to an hour and a half practices and still running 3 or 4 a day, and then eventually getting to 2-hour-long practices. We don't put more than 16 in the pool, so we can keep one at each end in each lane. And make sure that they all have a wall to push off, but they're still able to maintain social distancing and everything. Practice groups are definitely harder to put together now. I can't necessarily say, hey, let's have all the sprinters, all the distance kids, train at this specific time, because they've got classes throughout pretty much the entire day. So I've had to make a new practice schedule 4 or 5 different times throughout the semester, just based on the kids' academic schedules and everything. But like I said earlier, I'm just thankful that we are able to get in and be able to be training and have some sort of normalcy for these kids. I think it's been a good outlet for them to be able to come to practice and see everybody on the team and be able to, do something that they've been doing pretty much consistently their entire lives at this point. So to just be able to escape everything going on in the world for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, I think is definitely a positive.
Yeah, for sure. You have had a strong group of women swimmers right now that are, for the most part, juniors. And you also brought in a large group of first-year male swimmers last year that performed very well at the conference meet. How has the class of 2024, this year's incoming freshmen, measured up in regards to adding to the strong group of veterans that you already have in place?
They've been great. I mean, honestly, I couldn't have asked for anything more from this group. We've got 18 first years. It's 10 women and 8 guys. So big group. It's almost 50% of our roster at this point. And just looking at our breakdown for both the men's and the women's team, our men, we have only 2 seniors and 2 juniors. And then the rest, the other 15 are all first and second years. And then the women are the same way pretty much, where we've got that big group of juniors that you talked about. We have 0 seniors on the roster, and then 5 sophomores and 10 first years for the women. And the group has been, they've been great in practice and everything. I just wished we could have some sort of championship, because this women's group, coming off of last year, our highest finish ever for the women at the conference meet, we probably could vault up 3 more, 4 more spots. And then from there, just add in even more first years underneath to bolster some of the depth and stuff. But yeah, there's a few that are jumping right in on A relays. We've got one girl that came in just as fast as 2 of our butterfly records. We've bolstered up our sprint group behind Paige, our conference champ in the 100 free from last year, where our relays are going to be that much better. And same with the men. Last year we had a lot of senior guys that graduated, and some pretty talented ones at that, but we were able to bring in 8 guys that are going to be able to step in pretty much right away and fill some of the holes that we lost from that talented group that we lost.
So you mentioned that there won't be any kind of conference meet this year. Liberty League announced that just a couple days ago that conference seasons and conference meets like yours wouldn't be going on. However, schools like Clarkson, who actually are having a program continuing, um, are welcome to conduct their own games and meets. So I know that you already have a few virtual meets lined up. Can you tell me about that process and getting that together? And also, what might the spring semester hold as far as trying to get some more virtual meets going?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a challenge. I think the primary hurdle we run into is that our pool is a short course meter pool, and that most of the schools in the country are yard pools. So being able to try and find another school that has the same setup as us. And luckily, my fiance's sister is a head coach at Juniata College down in Pennsylvania, and they also have a short course meter pool. So we've been able to work something out with them to be able to have kind of a culminating event for our fall semester here. We've been in the pool for 6 weeks now, so it's nice to have the kids be able to actually get in and race a little bit. And I know it's not in person, but be able to compete and score against another team and see how we kind of stack up. And we swam against them last year on training trip as well, and their women actually beat us. So it'll be good test for these new incoming freshmen, like I was talking about, to see how they measure up and how much of a step forward we've taken as a program. So just going through some of the logistics of trying to get dates figured out based on when they're able to practice and when we're able to practice, and how many we can put into the pool facility at one time, and same with them. And then just trying to figure out how to merge meet results, how to make sure that we're running everything at the same time so it is a level playing field and stuff like that. But I'm just happy, again, that we have some sort of event for these kids to be able to compete. And I think that I know they're excited about it, because practice can get a little monotonous in a sport like swimming, where you just put your face in the water for an hour and a half or 2 hours at a time. And then second semester, I've been talking to a couple of the other coaches in our conference that potentially doing some in-person meets if we're able to do it at that time, and if not, trying to come up with, again, another way to do it virtually. Both of the schools that I've talked to have movable bulkheads, so they could potentially move their bulkhead back 6 feet, basically is the difference between our pool and their pool, and be able to merge the meet the same way. And that, is if we can't do an in-person meet. And like I said, we've already kind of got the groundwork laid to be able to hopefully do some travel and get to some other schools and be able to race some yards and do an in-person meet against 2 schools in our conference. And then I'm optimistic. I'm always trying to stay on that kind of mindset about everything, that, again, like, let's just be happy we're able to do what we can do at this point. And I would love it to be able to, maybe we can push things back a little bit to end instead of in February, because we may not get the kids back until January after Thanksgiving. So pushing everything back maybe a month or so to give us another couple weeks to get in shape and be able to rest them down and see what we can pop time-wise for the kids and everything. And then as long as NCAA's, the championship hasn't been canceled, if we do qualify anybody, and I think we have a woman with a shot to make a cut there, we can still send her to that and hopefully, be able to compete at the next level outside of our conference.
Last thing, Coach, I wanted to talk to you about the annual Let's See You Give that Clarkson had 2 weeks ago now. It was the 5th time that Clarkson Athletics has done a giving day, and I believe your 3rd time going through it as a coach. Did your team do anything interesting as far as trying to connect with the team supporters, like through social media or anything like that? And how pleased were you by the outcome of the day?
I mean, we just did kind of the normal things that we did every other year that have given us success in the past. I mean, we were on our Instagram page. We were sending out emails to the alums and the parents and stuff about it. And we put some stuff up on our Facebook as well. And honestly, I went into it with tempered expectations because of, the economic issues that everyone is facing right now. And I was overwhelmed with the support that we got from our alumni and our parents. We made almost just as much as last year with the giving day, and we honestly didn't push it as much as we did the last couple of years, just because I didn't want to come off as too pushy about trying to get money from people during a tough time and everything. But I am so thrilled with the support, and it really does speak to how great of an alumni group we have. I mean, this program's been going long before I got here, and it's been refreshing to see the alums really embrace me after, someone who was around for 3 decades before me, and not, just abandon the program just because their coach isn't necessarily the one that's there anymore. But I think it speaks to the alumni and the kids on our team, and what a good group that we've got here. And hopefully we can continue to keep that enthusiasm going forward for the next couple of years as well.
Okay, thanks for joining me today, Coach Wahl. It was a pleasure speaking to you. And also good luck this weekend for your first virtual meet of the season.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Tommy.